ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my next Let's Play of Zelda Classic. Today we're going to start New Legend of Zelda First Quest by Matthew Bluefox. This sword is needed. Yes, sir, it is. So this is basically the third set of Zelda Deluxe. That's where this quest started. Matt made a Zelda Deluxe first through fourth quest, and then he changed it to Zelda Deluxe Remade, and then Mini 1, Mini 2, Maxi, and then he changed it to New Legend of Zelda 1, 2, 3, and Mini 1, Mini 2 kind of have stayed the same, but have changed a little bit. They're not what they used to be. So we have one bomb. We're looking for 2 to get the first 2 heart containers, of course, and we need a lot of money because we want to get ourselves quite a few items here. We're not going to go into any levels in this first part, but we should be able to take out at least I'd say levels 1, 2, and 3 in the next part. So that's really where we stand. So right now, as we go looking for bombs and stuff like that and money, we are doing very well in the money department, and let's see if we can get this Octorok to cooperate. And there's the second bomb. Good, good, good. The more bombs we get, the better it will be, of course, until we... And, of course, if we bomb in the wrong spot, that does not help. All right, so here is the first heart container that we can get, and already we have more life, so that is good. And hopefully we'll get some more bombs as we get closer to where the second heart container is. Now I'm going to probably be comparing this to the original first quest throughout the LP. And I'll try to not do that as much. But it's just so you can see some of the differences. So obviously these used to be blue moblins. Now there are blue moblins in this quest. Don't worry about that. But what's changed is that you used to be able to grind off the blue moblins for bomb drops, essentially. So now any enemy can drop a bomb, so you can't depend on the these different moblins to drop your bombs. And if we can get at least one more, that would really be helpful. And there's a clock. Good, good, good. Oh, good. Second bomb. All right, so now we can go to get the other heart container in this direction. Now, if we are lucky enough to get another bomb drop, we'll be able to open up a bunch of secrets here. And we'll be clearing off some of these screens later once we get the white sword, which should be shortly. Now, already you can see the enemies have changed a little bit here. So these are like level 2 Tektites, and they take 2 shots with your wooden sword. And here's where the second heart container is. And we have a lot of things to buy, a lot of things to find, and hopefully we'll be able to get everything in an orderly fashion here. So these used to be blue Octoroks. Now there are blue Octoroks in the quest. They're just later on or in different parts of the overworld. And right now what I'm trying to do is find at least one more bomb for myself to open that secret over there. So one of the other things that you'll remember or may not remember, depending on if you played the ZDs or not, is that there are 2 overworlds in this quest. Unlike the original first, there was only 1. So here in this quest there are 2 overworlds. Hyrule, which is overworld number 1, and of course overworld number 2 was Mirror Hyrule, and that has been removed in favor of Lorule. So I don't know how many of you guys watch Star Trek. You know, it's a fantastic series if you guys don't watch it. So Data has a brother, Lore, another android. And so essentially the second overworld was named after him. So it's called Lorule instead of Mirror Hyrule, and it's basically a carbon copy of this, just things are a little different. So we'll get to that later. on in the quest. Now, one of the things you'll also notice is that if you find a money secret in Hyrule, for instance, like that one, if you go into Lorule, it's going to be the opposite. Some of them are not the exact opposite, meaning that there's not always a door repair charge there, but for the most part, if you find a money secret in Hyrule, it is a door repair charge in Lorule, and vice versa. If you find a door repair charge in Hyrule, it is a money secret there. So you really need to learn that pretty quickly if you're going to have any luck with this quest at all. But it's really the traditional first quest. I mean, there's really nothing about this that should be that hard for you. And in fact, even adding the slash makes it easier than the traditional, first quest, because you don't get the slash at all in the first quest at all. So, and I'll be getting that rupee secret in just a second. But first, I want to grab the letter. And in this quest, you can only hold 250 rupees here, so we want to be aware of that. So right now we have 122, and I want to get my first 100 because we have a lot of items to buy, namely the blue ring, of course. We have to get a magic shield. We have to get a bunch of items. So we want to really get ourselves prepared for this kind of thing, and it works the same way as in the second quest. So here is your one of your 100s, and in the second quest is only one of them. So and there's the same amount of items to buy essentially. All right, so now we're gonna make our way over to the white sword, and on our way we're gonna buy a couple of things too. And then we should be able to move on from there. So if we go up here, it's just for map completion. You don't have to do this if you don't want. Oh, bomb. That would max me out. So I'm not going to use that money secret just yet. I'm going to get the candle first, and then I'll get it. Because otherwise I'll max myself out. And those that heart that you just saw me get is a double heart. And those are really, really useful for later when you need it. And fairies work a little bit differently in this quest. So here is your candle shop. And the candle is quite different than it was in the original first quest as well. So the candle has a lot more uses to it. It is not the same. And hello, bombs. We need those. All right, so this looks different. So that you remember, you used to be able to push these rocks. We'll be getting back to that later, essentially. So we want to come in back to this other screen here because there's a 30 rupee secret that I want to grab. And of course, the enemies have respawned. And once I get the white sword, things will be a little easier. All right, so here we have another 30. And any extra money I can get along the way is helpful for me. And so we've explored quite a bit so far, and we'll be getting back to that cave later. So let's see what's in the waterfall. Well, we can grab ourselves the magic shield pretty early. This used to be a useless secret. I think it was a woman that told you about different things and whatever. Now here in this next screen, you really got to be careful because you have a Lionel here that shoots 3 sword beams at you. Oops, did not want to leave the screen. Well, it helped anyway because now he's on the other side. Now remember, he does 2 hearts of damage at this point, so you really want to be careful. And we got ourselves the white sword, which is really, really necessity for this quest. And you're going to have it for the majority of it, just like you do in the original first quest, of course. And look at how many shots he takes with that white sword. So now these Tektites go down in 1 hit, and the Zora as well. And hopefully we won't have to buy ourselves another magical shield. Alright, so with the candle, we have a lot of options at our disposal now. And let us continue on this route. And if you bomb here and go in, it's one of the places for you to buy potions. And now it changes to an empty potion jar, which is kind of neat. And now all these Octoroks only take one shot. Now we could take out level 1 if we want. It's really not that difficult, but you know, I'd really rather have the blue ring if possible. So here's another 30 for us. And there's a lot of items still to buy, so we really want to make sure that we're set to go. And here you find blue Octoroks in exchange for their counterparts. Alright, so I don't want to give away too much of this quest before we get to certain points, but I did give away a little bit. So here's another 30 for you. And these are all door repair charges in Lorule, so just so you know. Alright, so remember there used to be a heart container on this screen, and then let's see if it's still here. Because if it's like the first quest, there's probably a heart container here, right? Find an extra heart in the star. So we cannot get that heart container. So basically what that means is that you cannot get the magical sword until you beat level 5. Instead of just level 4. You know, in the original first quest, you used to be able to beat 4 levels and get yourself the magical sword. But not in this quest. Alright, so here's a 10. And we're going to start making our way to the blue ring shop. And we'll get ourselves that blue ring next. And then we have a lot of items still to get, including, but not limited to, some of the items that are on this side of things. Now, this quest is kind of linear in ways, but also you can do some sequence breaking. But it really doesn't make a difference because you can't get the magical sword before being level 5 anyway, and you really don't want to go into level 5 right now. Unless you want to burn like 4 potions. Because even if you go into level 5, you're not really going to get yourself any better because you still have to beat levels 1 through 3. 1 through 4 rather. And these bomb drops are really, really helpful. Alright, so we'll go into that cave in just a second now. I want to get rid of some of these enemies here, and these guys only take 2 shots now with the white sword, which is really nice. And if I can get rid of that Zora, that will help. Alright, so let's see what is in this shop. This used to be... So here you have the blue ring, you have the hammer. Now in the Zelda Deluxe 1... The original Zelda Deluxe, the hammer was something you could not get until you had the upgraded wallet. And we'll be getting that shortly. So, what else is here? Well, let's just show you what's in this cave here. You find the bow. So that's something you'll have to buy too. Now, I guess they give you the arrows, so I guess that's a compensation to some extent. So this first part is a lot of exploring, and again, you don't necessarily, depending on how the enemies are to you, you don't necessarily need to use all your money secrets, but again, I am gonna save up for that bow, but there's a couple of items I can get in the meantime that would be very helpful for me. Now, obviously, since there's 2 overworlds, that means that some of the levels have changed position. Oh, hello. We almost have enough to buy. We will have enough to buy the bow in a minute, actually, but we're gonna come back for it. Now, the bomb upgrades and the arrow upgrades work a little different in this quest. You don't have to waste money on arrow upgrades if you don't want, but I'm going to buy them because by the time you get infinite arrows, it's kind of towards the end anyway. So, again, I'm not trying to give away everything, but I just want to explain my strategy on why I'm doing this route the way I do it. And having the blue ring here is very helpful. And obviously, the path here is up, left, down, left. And then once we get the item on this side of things, we can move along to other cool and cool items here. And we're going to get rid of some of these Linos because they're just, you know, a disturbance at this point, really. And extra money is always good because we're going to need, like I said, another 104. We're going to need 140 to get the hammer. We need 80 to get the bow. So there's a lot of things you have to buy. Plus, you need the enemy bait, of course. And here are your traditional blue Linos, essentially. The darker red ones are your level 2 Linos. They get harder by by color. All right, so let's continue on this path here, and just Armos is here, and we're gonna need to go up this way anyway to get the power bracelet. Now, once you get the power bracelet, you can, of course, go into Lorule if you want. I wouldn't recommend it because the enemies there are much harder than they are here. Although I know he toned it down from the original to this, so the enemies aren't as dangerous as they used to be, but trust me when I say they're still dangerous. So let's pick ourselves up the bow because we're going to need it for level 2. Without giving too much away, and now we have to make our way through Death Mountain, and you really want to do this as early as possible. Now, again, could you bought the hammer and then gone into level 5 and gotten the whistle? Yeah, once you get the blue ring, yeah. Especially since you're gonna have the white sword anyway. But why go in there with such little health? So that's really the only reasoning for me not going into it right now, is the health portion of things. I mean, like I said, if you have the hammer, it really is not a big deal. But it's getting it. It's, again, you can't beat level 5 anyway. So here's the small wallet. Now, you'll want to remember this location because the large wallet is here in Lorule, and we'll be getting into that much, much later. So after we beat levels 1 through 3 in the next part, we'll probably be going down to two levels apart and just trying to get through this as fast as possible, but with still getting everything. And we have the blue ring, we have the bow. Oops. And clearing out some of these screens for later is really, really helpful. Alright, so we almost have enough for the enemy bait. Let's see if we can't get 5 more rupees over here. Let's see if this guy wants to drop a 5. Oh, great. Alright, so that's so we can pick up the enemy bait. We definitely don't need the enemy bait till much later anyway. So let's see what else we can do now. We can go get ourselves a couple of 100s and then get ourselves into the hammer, which will be good for level 3 also. And just be careful going back because, again, the enemies are not friendly. Single rupee there. So level 6, you would think if you go up here is here, but it's not. And if you go into any of the original locations, any of them 6 through 9, it's basically going to tell you that it's in Lorule. And we'll be getting to that later. So don't fret. Alright, so with the little health we have left, let us... oh, by the way, if you go to where the magical sword is in this quest, in the original NES first quest, it'll tell you the same thing. It is in Lorule. So it's been moved. So just as an FYI, now you could grind off these guineas if you want. But so far, we've been doing pretty well on health and money to this point. So I think we're okay for right now, and we're going to make our way back. And it's really nice that now there's one enemy on these screens, so that it's a little easier. This one, so we can make it basically all the way through. And here you'll have one of the 100s, one of the other 100s, I should say. And like I said, we're doing pretty well on money, so I'm pretty happy about that. Sometimes the enemies aren't as friendly on that regard. And here's another 100 for you. Now, one of the things you'll notice, and I want to show this off as early as I can, is you'll notice that I used magic with my candle. So if I were to go up here and go here, watch my magic. So fairies refill magic also in this quest. It's really nice. He did not have to do that, but it's a really nice addition. And we're almost maxed out on arrows, which is kind of cool. Making our way through the through all this stuff. Now, obviously, door repair charge there. And we're trying to get ourselves enough money to get the hammer. We just need 140. So one more rupee secret should do it. And then, of course, we also want to get the bomb and arrow upgrades too. And we'll probably have to save that for another part or when we have more money. After going through probably the first 3 levels, we'll probably have more money. So here you have really dangerous moblins here. But that's why I got the blue ring before coming here. Because you really don't want to deal with these guys with just a with a green tunic. So in here we find ourselves another 30. So now we can go back to that other screen and get ourselves the hammer. And any extra money we can get along the way is even better. Because we need a lot of money for later. Bombs are also good. And we're not going to get super bombs till later. Now, I know that some of the other changes don't really happen until you get to the levels. But having the hammer will be very useful too, because it's another white sword item. Now, in some quests that you play, the hammer is actually magical sword strength, but not in this quest. So don't think of it as a magical sword item. It is not. And here's another 140 rupees out the door, but you can see how many items we've gotten in this part. It's really kind of cool. Now, I want to show off one more little thing. Well, it's not gonna be shown off per se in this part, but when we start the next part, when we start in level, if you save in a level, you start in that level. So, for example, we're gonna save in level 1, and we'll start the next part in level 1. Let's see what's in here. And it's an arrow shop for you. And it's the same thing on the other side of things. If you go to the other screen that's right here, it's a bomb shop. Now, some locations are... So I haven't really shown off a lot of change other than you get a wallet. Some of the enemies have changed in some places, but other than that, it's really pretty similar to the first quest in that you can get the blue ring, the white sword, bunch of cool items to start, and here's a 30. And since we can hold 500 rupees, you might as well get close to maxing out, because we're going to, like I said, get the arrow and bomb upgrades as quickly as possible, because we're going to need it. We already are maxed out on arrows, but we could go get the arrow upgrade now, but since they're 100 rupees each upgrade, I want to try to get them together. Alright, so we'll end this first part in level 1, and then in the next part, we're going to take out levels 1 through 3, because they're pretty straightforward. And by the way, this trick does not work, by the way. You cannot enter and exit the level and expect the door to open. Alright, so join me next time as we take out levels 1 through 3. I'm Nitro6003. I'll see you guys all next time.